Call me crazy, y'all, but I've been thinking about ways that the right people could be a governance. So, for example, one of my ideas is that instead of having a president, we have a board, an odd number board that represents all people. So, it could even be by continent. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be by race, it could be by continent, because America is a melting pot. So, a representative to, there's 7 continents, odd number. Do you see what I'm saying? But the one that I was thinking of and what made me jump on here right now was I think that becoming president, I think the president should be younger. I do have a lot of respect and understanding as to why we would look to our elders for guidance. I do think that we should have an elders board because those people have lived through the most stuff, right? But my thought process right now is about preparation. So, for one thing, I don't think that we should have a separate I don't think that we should have people campaigning on their own. I think that there should be a certain amount of our taxes that go into campaign funds. And depending on how many people want to campaign at a time, they just split them damn money and you get as far as you get. You get what I'm saying? Because then that way you can kind of bypass some corruption that way. But the one that I'm thinking about is preparation. I keep coming back to that because I'm thinking you should be preparing for your potential spot in government for a couple of years at least before you get into place. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's say that we don't ever get rid of a presidency and we don't have like a board of representation. Let's say we go forward with the presidency and that person, male, female, or however they choose to identify, starts their preparation 10 years in advance. And let me tell you why. That person needs to live 1 year in each economic bracket of our nation. Yeah, they need to spend a year homeless. Yeah, they need to spend a year living within the confines of whatever government assistance is offered them. Yes, they need to spend a year in the economic bracket of the person who just comes out of college for the first time or who can't afford to go to college and has to go to some place like McDonald's to build a life, which is not a bad thing, but it is not a lucrative thing either. Yes, they should have to spend time making $30,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $70,000 a year. Yes. If you don't understand the challenges that the people that you're governing are facing, then you can't govern. With logic, with knowledge, with experience, how can you possibly govern people whose lives you have never had the opportunity to at least be introduced to? I never understood that. Like, even as a kid, it didn't make sense to me. You mean these old rich white people are making decisions about what's going to happen to me? They don't like me. They've never lived like me and they don't understand my life and they don't care. I think anybody who has any government position that makes decisions for large groups of people need to understand the challenges of that group of people. And you can't do that if you've never lived like them. And I'll take it a step further by challenging anyone who has any kind of criticism of another individual. And I'll give you a perfect example of what I mean. I have a biracial friend. We're very close. I love her to death. She's really like family. As a matter of fact, she's extended family because we're not family by blood, but we have family between us, bloodline. And so because she's biracial, she actually was raised in a white setting. And so every once in a while, she'll say the stupidest shit. And I'll just be like, damn, you are so disconnected from your blackness. But how can I blame her? Her, and the truth is that there's a certain amount, there's a certain amount of ignorance is bliss, like it or not. So the other day we were coming from an expensive dinner that we were having together. And she said, I don't understand poor people. Why, instead of going to get groceries and just making their meals at home, why do they feel like they should order out? And I said, you got to be about the stupidest motherfucker I ever bumped into. Because I don't hold no grudges. I don't hold no bars. If you're going to be stupid in front of me, I'm going to catch you. And I expect for you to do the same thing to me. I said, poor people like to be catered to too. Everybody wants to feel special. And sometimes after working 50-hour shifts, 60-hour shifts, instead of going home and having to work to make your meal, you really just want to pick up something for $15 and keep that shit pushing and hope that covers you for a couple of days worth of that particular type of meal, whether it's lunch or dinner. But the fact that you are so fucking elitist that you feel comfortable and confident enough to say some stupid shit like that when you can't walk away from your job. You're not poor either, stupid ass. So, why do poor people not make most of their meals? They do make most of their meals. But everybody likes to be catered to, asshole. Everybody likes to be catered to. Sometimes people just need to feel like they're cared for. And if you have to pay $15 or $20 for that, so be it. Used to be that you could afford to, every paycheck, treat your family to a whole family meal at some place like KFC or Taco Bell. Those are all owned by rich white people making their money off of poor people, no matter what the color or the handicap or the sexual orientation. So I think it's really funny that if you're a little bit comfortable, just a touch comfortable, I got a little bit more than I needed in my paycheck, comfortable, you have the audacity to look differently at somebody else. And I say to you, don't forget where you came from. If you can't get up and walk away from your job and be good for the rest of your life, then you might not be poor, but you're not rich enough. If you can get up and walk away from your job, then you motherfucking need to be thanking the heavens, and you need to keep in mind what got you there and keep that activity up. So you're still working for your shit, even if it's just maintenance. The only people who are not working as hard for their job is the 1%, because what they're trying to do is mind fuck you. And a lot of you are allowing that to happen. That's a whole different conversation. All I'm saying is this. If you want to be in government, you ought to be able to live the life of every person that you represent for 1 year. There should be preparation required to be in governance. And the more intelligent you are, the further to the ground you ought to be able to get. That's humbling. It's connectivity. And it's hard to make decisions that will screw everybody when you've had to live like they do. Get what I mean? Happy Sunday.